This past weekend, the streets of Los Angeles filled with thousands of angry and fearful people. Their voices rose together in protest against new, tough immigration policies from President Donald Trump's administration. The immediate spark for this outrage was a series of aggressive raids conducted by U.S. Immigration and Customs Enforcement, or ICE. These operations led to the detention of more than 200 people across the city, tearing families apart and spreading deep anxiety through immigrant communities. For many Angelenos, these actions felt like a direct attack on their neighbors, friends, and the very fabric of their diverse city, which has long prided itself on being a sanctuary for immigrants from all corners of the world. The protests began on Saturday, June 7th, fueled by rumors that spread like wildfire on social media. A report of an ICE raid at a Home Depot in Paramount, though later found to be untrue, was enough to draw large, emotional crowds. The presence of Border Patrol agents in the area only confirmed people's worst fears. What started as a local gathering quickly snowballed into a massive citywide movement. People from all walks of life, students, workers, activists, and families, came together to stand in solidarity. They carried signs with powerful messages, chanted for justice, and demanded an end to the harsh enforcement that they believe is cruel and unjust. The anger is rooted in a deep sense of betrayal. Los Angeles officially became a sanctuary city in November 2024, a promise that city resources would not be used to help federal immigration enforcement. The recent ICE raids are seen by many as a violation of that promise and a direct challenge to the city's values. Immigrant rights activists have reported that the scale of these raids is unlike anything they have seen before. They also raised alarms that those who were detained were being denied access to lawyers, a fundamental right in the American legal system. This has created a feeling that the federal government is ignoring local laws and basic human rights to push its agenda. For the protesters, this is not just about politics. It is a deeply personal fight. Many are immigrants themselves or come from immigrant families. They have seen firsthand the fear that grips a community when neighbors are taken away without warning. They worry about children being left without parents and families being destroyed over paperwork. The protests are their way of saying that these are not just numbers or statistics. These are human beings whose lives are being thrown into chaos. They are marching to protect their loved ones and to demand that the government treat all people with dignity and respect, regardless of where they were born. The response from government leaders has been as divided as the nation itself, creating a tense standoff between Washington, D.C. and California. President Trump acted swiftly, ordering 2,000 California National Guard troops to be deployed to Los Angeles. In a highly unusual move, he federalized the troops, placing them under his direct command and bypassing the state's authority. On his social media platform, Truth Social, the president was clear about his stance. He called the demonstrators radical left, paid troublemakers and insurrectionists, vowing that their actions will not be tolerated. He also announced a new rule banning the wearing of masks at protests, a move aimed at identifying those involved in any unrest. This federal intervention was met with immediate and forceful opposition from California's state and local leaders. Governor Gavin Newsom fiercely condemned the deployment of the National Guard. He called the president's order purposefully inflammatory and an illegal and immoral violation of state sovereignty. Newsom accused the Trump administration of creating a crisis for political reasons. "This is a manufactured crisis to justify a crackdown," he stated, promising to fight back. In a strong show of defiance, the governor announced that California would file a federal lawsuit to challenge the legality of Trump's decision to federalize the state's own guard troops without his consent. Los Angeles Mayor Karen Bass shared the governor's frustration, though her focus remained on calming the city. While she condemned the violence and property damage, she called the deployment of the National Guard unnecessary and a form of political posturing. Mayor Bass insisted that the Los Angeles Police Department was fully capable of handling the situation on its own. She placed the blame for the chaos squarely on the administration's aggressive ICE raids, arguing that they were the source of the public's anger. "The right to peaceful protest is sacred," Bass said, "but the administration's actions have provoked a volatile situation." The conflict escalated further when the president's border czar, Tom Homan, issued a stark warning. He declared that immigration operations would continue and that any local officials who obstructed ICE agents could face serious consequences, including arrest and felony charges. This threat was seen as a direct message to Governor Newsom and Mayor Bass, who have been vocal in their opposition. The starkly different views highlight a fundamental disagreement over immigration, states' rights, and the role of law enforcement. While one side sees the need for overwhelming force to maintain order, the other sees it as a dangerous overreach that only makes a bad situation worse. As political leaders clashed with words, the situation on the streets of Los Angeles grew more chaotic and at times violent. While thousands of people gathered to exercise their right to peaceful protest, some demonstrations spiraled out of control. Clashes erupted between groups of protesters and law enforcement officers. Some individuals in the crowds threw rocks, glass bottles, fireworks, and even Molotov cocktails at police lines. In response, officers in riot gear used tear gas, rubber bullets, and flashbang grenades to disperse the crowds. The air in downtown Los Angeles became thick with the chemical smell of police munitions and smoke from burning debris. The unrest led to significant property damage across the city center. Several businesses were looted, with windows smashed and merchandise stolen. The destruction was not limited to buildings. At least 5 cars were set on fire, including 3 futuristic-looking Waymo driverless vehicles, which became a symbol of the chaos. Police vehicles were also targeted, with some being vandalized and set ablaze. In response to the escalating violence and property destruction, Waymo made the decision to suspend its driverless taxi service in the downtown area, adding to the sense of a city under siege and disrupting daily life for many residents who rely on the service. The protests also caused major disruptions to transportation throughout the city. Demonstrators repeatedly blocked the busy 101 freeway, one of the main arteries through Los Angeles, creating massive traffic jams and forcing authorities to shut it down for hours at a time. Public transit was also severely affected. Metro officials had to shut down train service on the A and B lines, which run through the heart of downtown, and numerous bus routes had to be rerouted to avoid the protest areas. These disruptions made it difficult for people to get to work, school, or home, impacting countless residents who had nothing to do with the protests. In the face of the escalating turmoil, law enforcement agencies began making arrests. Over the weekend, at least 37 people were taken into custody by the Los Angeles Police Department and the California Highway Patrol for various offenses, including vandalism, assault, and failure to disperse. On Sunday evening, the Los Angeles Police Department declared the entire downtown area an unlawful assembly, ordering everyone on the streets to leave or risk arrest. The crackdown also resulted in injuries on both sides. At least 6 law enforcement officers sustained minor injuries, while several protesters and journalists were hurt by less lethal munitions fired by police, highlighting the physical dangers for everyone involved in the volatile confrontations. In the aftermath of a weekend filled with anger and confrontation, leaders on all sides are now calling for a different path forward. The immediate focus has shifted toward de-escalation and finding a way to restore calm to the streets of Los Angeles. Both Governor Newsom and Mayor Bass have made public appeals directly to the protesters. While they continue to support the right to peaceful assembly and share the protesters' outrage over the immigration raids, they are urging everyone to remain peaceful. They have warned that violence and destruction only serve the agenda of those they are protesting against. Do not give them the spectacle they are seeking, Newsom pleaded, asking for calm and restraint. The core of the issue remains the right to protest, a fundamental principle of American democracy. This right allows citizens to voice their dissent and hold their leaders accountable without fear of punishment. However, this right does not protect violence, vandalism, or endangering others. Leaders are trying to walk a fine line, defending the rights of peaceful demonstrators while condemning the destructive actions of a few. The challenge now is to create an environment where people can make their voices heard safely and effectively, without the chaos that has overshadowed their message and harmed the city they are fighting to protect. Officials are also focused on addressing the root causes of the unrest. Mayor Bass has emphasized the need to protect the city's immigrant communities and has reiterated the city's commitment to its sanctuary status. Governor Newsom's legal challenge against the federalization of the National Guard is a key part of this strategy, aiming to reassert state control and push back against what he sees as federal overreach. These actions are designed to show the public that their leaders are fighting for them through legal and political channels, offering an alternative to street battles. The goal is to channel the public's anger into constructive action rather than destructive outbursts. Looking ahead, the path to healing for Los Angeles will require dialogue and a commitment to both justice and order. Leaders are asking residents to come together, to look out for one another, and to engage in the political process to bring about the change they seek. The situation remains tense, with federal troops on the ground and deep divisions still running through the community. The hope is that the passion that fueled the protests can be transformed into a powerful, unified, and peaceful movement that advocates for the rights and dignity of all Angelenos, ensuring that the city can move forward together instead of being torn further apart.